In this video, I'm going to break down one of the ways that the Matrix uses to trick you into giving away your power, because they can't actually take it from you because you are too powerful. But what they can do is to trick you into believing that you have no other option but to give it away. And I'm going to break down one of the ways that they do this. Now, there's a lot of ways that they do this, but I'm only covering this one today. One of the ways that they do this is by presenting their ideas as positive and well-intentioned, while their true intentions is hidden deep underneath all of that, which it looks really good on the surface level. But once you start to dig a little deeper, you start to see, and you can't hide this. You can't hide this. It's like hiding in plain sight kind of thing, but you have to know where to look. And I'm going to start with this picture here. And before you come for me, I'm not saying cancel Christmas. I'm not against Christmas, okay? I think humans need celebrations. It's important to bring people together and all of that. That's all positive and good, all right? It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it needs to evolve because of what I'm about to show you, all right? But I'm not coming at trying to cancel nothing, so chill out and give me a chance, all right? Give me a chance. The reason I start here is because the Christmas tree represents the reward and punishment system. Okay, now when you're a kid, this means if you're good, you will get toys. If not, whatever happens, I'm not sure, but you get cold. Pretty much, that's the story, right? You get punished or whatever. But when you're an adult, what this represents is the reward represent you get to live in your house, have a job, and live with your family in relative peace, right? And what the code represents as an adult is you go to prison, homelessness, just rejected, outcasted from society. That's what this system represents, right? And this is a fear-based system meant to control the behavior of people. This is not love-based. This is fear-based, okay? And it's based on the belief that there is good and evil in the world. And this is also a man-made idea. This is not truth. This is not a universal truth. This is an inorganic belief, meaning that it's not in alignment with source, God, energy, or love, whatever you want to call it. That's what it is. And by the way, even if you are atheist, you don't believe in a Christian God, right, or any God for that matter, but you still participate or believe in the reward and punishment system, that just means that this was a system that's heavily influenced by religion and the church. You're still operating from that influence, even though good and evil is illusion, is made up, it's not real. Positive and negative is, and that doesn't mean good and bad. It just means positive and negative. So if you have a negative experience, it's meant to teach you. It's like, hey, I don't want this, let me create something different. But there's a purpose for the negative in your life and in the world. The earth has a positive and negative pole. The poles are different, right? Because that's how energy works. That's how energy can flow. And so that's natural. The unnatural is what they added on top, which was the evil, good and evil on top of that. So it's just a misunderstanding of the energies, of just universal energies. It also creates an internal conflict within people because it uses shame and judgment as a behavior control mechanism, right? And so it creates the idea of that something about humans is bad or wrong and shameful and all these things, and all these inorganic beliefs develop between the human, inside of the human, to create this internal conflict. Beliefs like, I'm not worthy of love, I'm not worthy of having the life that I want, I'm not worthy of freedom. All of these beliefs are inorganic, and they manifest because of this the pressure that this system puts on people. Now they place this idea, this system, right, this inorganic system, and then they dress it up and they make it look all pretty and shiny and with lights and all of that, and it's all about love on the surface. It's all about unity and giving and all these kind of things, right? But what they're really not telling you is that this is creating war within yourself and your children. Now, here's where it starts to get deep, y'all, because the story that they convince people to tell to their children, right? Because when you're telling their story of Santa Claus and this fake magic that is told, it creates, you're altering their reality. First of all, you're creating an illusion and altering the way they see the world. You're essentially putting a spell on them, right? And I'm not here to argue if it's good or bad or whatever. I'm not here to pass a judgment. All I'm saying is this is what happens. So you might have a very good intention. You want to keep their innocence. You want to live in a magic world. Whatever it is, the intention. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the action of telling the story and creating an illusion in your children's mind as they're developing, and the effects that this has, right? Because once you tell them that spell, right, you share that story with them, then they grow up until they're old enough to realize that, hey, wait a minute, this is not true. And what happens then is the spell breaks. It shatters, right? And they're back to reality, right? They're back to the world that is here. But what you don't know, what happens is once the spell breaks, a bigger one takes place. A bigger one gets locked in, like it's saying that, oh, I'm not going to get fooled again. So unless I see it with my eyes, I'm not going to believe it. I don't believe in magic. Don't believe in none of that stuff. And this is also one of the ways where we start to repress the feminine within us, because the masculine is the logical, to see it, to believe it. But the feminine is the intuition, is the feeling. It is the feeling mind, right? It's the creative. And so now we start to suppress that because we've been fooled by the spell. This bigger one takes place, like, nah, you're not gonna get me again. Like, nah, I gotta see it type deal. So this bigger one gets placed onto the children that's growing up because of the betrayal, and that's what it is. It's a betrayal of people that they trusted, right? You were put in a position of responsibility for another human being, and you choose to lie to them. And you know what? That's what it is, right? But every action has consequences. And the consequence of this one here is to help disconnect people from themselves even more, to the point where we're not doing anything about companies just destroying our world. And like I said earlier, this is just one way they go about doing this. But once this takes place and then they get hit with this programming, or, the fear-based news, all this kind of fear-based media, then, that just feeds it. And whatever you want to call it, a spell, programming, brainwash. Look, I'm not here to argue for the terminology. I'm saying that the Matrix is using it, and is using your good intentions, or the good intentions of the people who don't know any better, to continue this. Because if we lived in balance with our world, we would be living in balance with ourselves, and we would know our own power, and the Matrix doesn't want us in our power. So you ask yourself, why are people in the Southern Hemisphere celebrating a winter solstice holiday? It doesn't make any sense, because the whole point of bringing the tree in the house is to preserve life. It symbolizes the preservation, or I don't even know if that's the right word, but of life, right? This happens in the wintertime. So the people in the Southern Hemisphere should be celebrating a summer festivity, holiday, whatever you want to call it. But this is how deep it's gone, that you got people in the summertime celebrating a winter solstice holiday. Doesn't make no type of sense. Now, if we were to be more in tune as we're raising our children, take them outside, explain to them why it's important to celebrate the solstices, the equinox, the cycles of life, right? The cycles of life, the cycles of the feminine, all right? The cycles of the family, of the masculine and feminine energies. Okay. um because we need both to thrive, to live a beautiful connected life. We need both energies. So there's no, I'm not coming at this from a there's a bad guy here, because this is the old system. The old system says there's a good and there's a bad, and the bad must be punished. So I'm not saying that, because going back to that would be to continue the system that has been in place. I'm saying we need to evolve past this. So even the people that have been moving out of alignment with the world and hurting our world and hurting people, we also need to have compassion towards them as we move towards a new, better system that benefits everybody. So it's for love, because a loving system is going to take care of people. And earlier I mentioned about the prisons and what we're doing there is actually insane that we're treating our brothers and sisters this way, because the prisons is full of people that need help, that need to release and go through their own release of whatever it is that they're all going through. So if we raise children who are in tune with the seasons of the planet, that understand that we are a part of the planet and we are the planet, then we would raise adults who will make conscious decisions based on environmental friendly laws, and who would run companies in a conscious way with balance in mind with the environment. Because the people that have up to this point been making the decisions about the laws regarding our environment were raised in this old system. So what can you really expect out of them? You know what I mean? If this is the way that they was raised. So now what role do we play in this today? How do we change? How do we start the change today? Because the revolution, the one that really makes the change, will be a love-based revolution. We'll be taking our power back, yes, in a firm way, but it also be love-based. Because you cannot create peace from killing people, or you cannot war yourself into peace. So we must change from within to create this lasting and real change outside. And I know that on the surface, the reason why people in the Southern Hemisphere celebrate Christmas is because of Jesus' birthday. And Jesus was also not for the reward and punishment system. He still, even to the people that did whatever they did to him, he was still trying to have compassion and understanding for them, and remember the Father forgive them, for they don't know what they do, or they not know what they do, or something like that. But basically Jesus was for love. He was for love. So what I'm saying is that this is just a part of the puzzle that is designed to keep people trapped and locked in their minds, right? Because if they can lock up your mind, they can lock up your body, and you will fall in line and do whatever you believe is the only option. But that's not true. It's not based on truth, and it's not based on love. And once we can connect to that power that we have, that's always available to us, we can make a change. We can take care of our planet, because, I mean, this is our home. And right now, we're just standing by while the minority of people are making decisions that are destroying our home. It's like, man, that's not cool. That's not cool. And it's time to stand up, man. Start to stand up and opt out of the systems that are not based on love, and say, you know what, I'm going to choose for myself and my family, and I'm going to choose love. Choose love. That's what I'm saying. And show love to your community and your environment. Outside, man. Go outside and take care of some plants, take care of some trees, do a little good for the environment. You know what I'm saying? And slowly but surely, I believe we will get there, because this is us. This is our home, and yes, we can.